Hello everybody, happy Monday. I am very excited about today's episode. I have some extra puff pastry stuff in the freezer from Easter and I've been trying to figure out something to do with it. Yesterday it just clicked. I'm gonna make some passion flakies. You guys remember those? The image of like opening my lunchbox as a kid and having a passion flaky when, you know, kids were actually allowed to have goodies like Dunkaroos in their lunchbox. So I'm very excited to attempt that today. No, I'm not making my own puff pastry because I have some left over and I'd rather just use that. Maybe in the future I'll do another video where I do make my own puff pastry, but for now, let's get baking. So to start, make sure you have a glass of the alcohol of your choosing. We're gonna line a baking tray with some parchment paper. And make sure that you have thawed out your pastry sheets. It takes about 2 hours at room temperature. Look at that. Don't even have to cut it. It's beautiful. I'm just going to kind of push the dough into that corner. And then I'm just going to gently run my pizza cutter across said dough. Okay, close enough. Now, you're going to need an egg in a tiny bowl. You're going to do 1 tablespoon of water. We're making an egg wash. Now, for this bottom layer, I'm just going to poke some basic holes a couple inches apart. Just lightly wash this guy. We're going to open up our second pack. We're going to do the same thing and trim off a section just so that it fits evenly, and we're going to stick them together. Alright, now I can use the piece that we already cut as a bit of a measurement. Now because the dough is super warm from us like thawing it out, we're actually going to pop the dough into the freezer for about 10-15 minutes. This is going to make the dough a little bit harder and a lot easier to cut into the squares that we need to actually become passion flakies. So while we're waiting for the pastry to cool down, we're going to preheat the oven. Set that to 400 degrees. Cheers yourself for remembering to preheat the oven. I'm just gonna use a pizza cutter again. Don't go too crazy because you don't want to cut your baking sheet. Definitely done that before. Kind of sucks. And essentially we're just gonna kind of like trim the edges to be sort of squared off as much as possible. We're gonna try and cut these into squares. I mean, I'm gonna try to get them proper passion flaky size. Okay, so now that we've got them cut into squares, I do need them to be separated. I'm gonna take that egg wash, brush that on top of each guy. And then you're just gonna take your regular granulated sugar. You're just gonna take a pinch and just sprinkle it on the top. And just repeat that process for the rest of them. These guys go into the oven for 10 to 15 minutes. And take the rest of these extras. We're gonna throw them in the freezer until we're ready for the second round. So the first round is finishing up in the oven. I'm actually just gonna pop these on a separate parchment paper and get these guys prepped. the next step is we're going to start making our raspberry sauce for the inside of that delicious flaky pastry. Alright, so for the raspberry filling, you're gonna just need a small saucepan, like so. Alright, half a cup of sugar, 2 cups of raspberries. I'm gonna put this on simmer and just cook it. So just as the raspberry is starting to simmer, it's about 10 minutes, we want it to be a bit thicker. So we're gonna mix 2 teaspoons of cornstarch with a 1/4 cup of cool water. Just gonna pour that right in there. Oops. Splash some outside. All right. I'm just gonna cook this for about another minute. We're gonna take this off the heat. I'm gonna pour this into a separate bowl here. Now I'm just gonna leave the bowl out to sit at room temperature. This is gonna cool it down, and then we're gonna transfer it into the fridge once it's not steaming anymore. And we're gonna do the last section to make this amazing passion flaky. I'm gonna do more of the icing style. So what you're gonna need is 1.5 cups of icing sugar, 1/3 of butter, softened butter, room temperature, and then I'm gonna add about a tablespoon or 2 of this heavy cream, and then we're gonna just do a quick splash of vanilla because it makes it taste delicious. So I'm gonna dump literally all of that in the same bowl, not even thinking about it, and then I'm just gonna beat it until it's light and fluffy. Yeah, pretty simple. Time has come to assemble the passion flaky. We're gonna separate these guys in half. So I'll just start with this guy right here. Boom. There's a top and a bottom piece. So I'm gonna put a tablespoon of the Compote on the bottom half here. I'm just gonna stack these guys back together. Boom. Assembly is done. So that's amazing. I just don't even want to talk. I just want to keep eating this. Seriously, these are so good. And they were honestly so easy to make. I really hope you guys give this recipe a try. Homemade passion flakies. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next week. Cheers.